Build something powerful. Trust in yourself. And that changes everything. Because once you trust yourself, you stop needing constant validation. You stop chasing approval. You stop comparing your journey to others. Now you are driven by something deeper. Your own standards. Your own discipline. Your own growth. Success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. We are not talking about proving the world wrong. We are talking about proving yourself right. Proving that you can stay disciplined. Proving that you can finish what you start. Proving that you can become stronger than your excuses. Because at the end of the day, the most important opinion is the one you have about yourself. And the truth is simple. When you prove yourself to yourself, no one can take your confidence away. The most important opinion is the opinion you have about yourself. Let's begin with a simple truth. A truth most people overlook. You can fool the world, but you cannot fool yourself. You can smile in public. You can look confident. You can pretend everything is fine. But deep down, you know whether you are disciplined. You know whether you are growing. You know whether you are giving your best. And that inner knowing shapes your confidence. Not praise. Not applause. Not validation from others. Real confidence comes from self-respect. And self-respect is built when you prove yourself to yourself. Confidence is not something you get. It is something you build. Now let me ask you something. How many times have you said, I'm going to change. I'll wake up early. I'll work harder. I'll stay focused. I'll become disciplined. And for a few days, you did well. But then you stopped. And every time you stop, something happens internally. Your mind begins to doubt you. Not because you failed, but because you stopped trusting your own word. Think about that. If someone constantly broke promises to you, would you trust them? Probably not. Then why should your mind trust you? If you constantly break promises to yourself, that is where self-doubt begins. Not from failure, but from inconsistency. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines, practiced every day, daily, not occasionally. Because every time you follow through, even in small ways, you send a message to yourself. I can trust myself. I do what I say. I finish what I start. And slowly, that builds confidence. Real confidence. Not loud confidence. Not fake confidence. Quiet confidence. The kind that doesn't need approval. Because it comes from within. Now understand this. Most people are trying to prove themselves to others. They want recognition, attention, validation. But they ignore the most important person. Themselves. And that creates emptiness. Because even if the world praises you, if you don't respect yourself, it will never feel enough. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That's where the real work begins. Not in impressing people, but in improving yourself. Waking up when you said you would. Doing the work when you don't feel like it. Staying disciplined when nobody is watching. That is how character is built. And character is more valuable than image. Because image is what people think you are. Character is who you really are. Now let's go deeper. Why is proving yourself to yourself so powerful? Because once you build self-trust, everything changes. You stop depending on motivation. You stop waiting for encouragement. You stop needing constant reassurance. Why? Because you've already seen yourself overcome difficulty. You've already proven that you can stay committed. And that creates inner strength. The few things you do every day determine the quality of your life. So don't underestimate small victories. Getting up early, keeping your word, finishing your task, staying focused. Those small actions build a strong identity. And identity shapes destiny. Because eventually, you become the kind of person who does what they say they will do. That's powerful. Stop trying to impress everyone. Stop chasing approval. Stop measuring your worth by other people's opinions. Instead, focus on this question. Can I trust myself? Can you trust yourself to stay disciplined? Can you trust yourself to keep going? Can you trust yourself to follow through? Because when the answer becomes yes, your confidence changes, your mindset changes, your life changes. So prove yourself to yourself first, not with words, not with promises, but with actions. Daily actions, consistent actions, disciplined actions. Because in the end, the strongest confidence comes from knowing you can count on yourself. Confidence is built when you do what you said you would do. Let's talk about promises. Not the promises you make to others, the promises you make to yourself. Because those promises shape your identity. Every time you say, I'll wake up early, I'll stay disciplined, I'll work on my goals, I'll change my life, your mind is listening. And every time you follow through, you build trust with yourself. But every time you quit, delay, or make excuses, you weaken that trust. That is why so many people struggle with confidence. Not because they are incapable, but because they stop believing their own word. Think about it. If someone lied to you every day, would you trust them? No. Then why should your mind trust you? If you constantly break your own promises. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. That bridge is built one promise at a time. Small promises. Simple promises. Wake up when you said you would. Finish what you started. Do the work you plan to do. Simple, but powerful. Because every small action says something. It says, I am serious. I am committed. I can depend on myself. And slowly, that changes the way you see yourself. Now let's be honest. Most people don't fail in one big moment. They fail quietly, by breaking small promises daily. I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it later. One more day won't hurt. And little by little, their discipline disappears. Their confidence fades. Their self-respect weakens. Not because life defeated them, but because inconsistency defeated them. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Daily discipline. That's the secret. Not motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you feel inspired. Some days you don't. But discipline stays. A disciplined person does the work, even when they don't feel like it. That is power. Now understand this carefully. Keeping promises to yourself is not about perfection. You will make mistakes. You will have hard days. You will fall short sometimes. But the key is this. Return quickly. Don't stay down. Don't disappear for weeks. Don't give up because of one bad day. Strong people are not perfect people. They are consistent people. They keep coming back again and again. Failure is not the end unless you stop. Now let me ask you something. What is one promise you've been breaking with yourself? Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your focus. Maybe it's your goals. Deep down, you already know. And every day you ignore it, your mind notices. But the good news is this. You can rebuild trust. Starting today. Starting small. Not with huge goals. Not with dramatic changes. Just one promise. And keep it. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier. Maybe it's reading 10 pages a day. Maybe it's working on your dream for 1 hour. Small actions. Repeated daily. That is how self-belief is built. Because confidence is not magic. It is evidence. Evidence that you can trust yourself. Evidence that you can stay committed. Evidence that you can finish what you start. And once you build that, something powerful happens. You stop doubting yourself. You stop needing constant motivation. You stop waiting for someone else to push you. Because now, you trust your own discipline. The major key to your better future is you. So protect your word, especially the word you give yourself. Because every promise you keep builds strength, builds character, builds confidence. And in the end, your life will reflect one thing: whether you trusted yourself enough to do what you said you would do. Your biggest challenge is not what's happening around you. It's what's happening within you. There is a battle happening every day. A silent battle. Not between you and other people, but between two versions of yourself. One version wants growth. The other wants comfort. One version wants discipline. The other wants excuses. And whichever one you feed becomes strong. Let's be honest. Excuses are dangerous. Not because they sound bad, but because they sound reasonable. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. I'm not ready yet. Small excuses, but repeated daily, they become habits. And habits shape your life. Excuses are the nails used to build a house of failure. Now let's talk about self-doubt. Because self-doubt grows every time you avoid action. The more you delay, the more uncertain you become. The more you quit, the less you trust yourself. And eventually, you begin to question your own ability. Not because you can't succeed, but because you stop trying consistently. That's the battle within. A part of you says, you can do more. Another part says, stay comfortable. And every day, you must decide which voice wins. Successful people are not fearless people. They simply refuse to obey fear. They act anyway. They move anyway. They continue anyway. Discipline is doing what must be done, even when you don't feel like it. That is how you defeat excuses. Not by waiting to feel motivated, but by taking action despite resistance. Because action destroys doubt. The moment you start, your mind changes. The moment you push forward, your confidence grows. Even small progress matters. One disciplined day builds momentum. One completed task builds trust. One brave decision builds strength. And slowly, the version of you that wants growth becomes stronger. Now understand this. You will never completely escape the inner battle. There will always be moments of doubt, moments of fear, moments when excuses sound attractive. But mentally strong people know something important. They don't negotiate with excuses. They act. Success is not magic. It is daily discipline. So the next time your mind says, maybe later, pause and ask yourself, is this an excuse or a reason? Because your future depends on that answer. Don't let temporary feelings control permanent decisions. Don't let fear decide your future. Don't let excuses steal your potential. You are stronger than your comfort, stronger than your doubt, stronger than your excuses. But you must prove it through action. Because the greatest victory is not over other people, it is over yourself. Talk is cheap, but results tell the truth. Let's be clear, very clear. You don't build belief by thinking. You build belief by doing, and then seeing the result of what you did. That is how confidence is created. Not through motivation, not through words, but through action. Most people wait. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel confident. They wait for the perfect moment. But confidence does not come before action. It comes after it. You act, you see progress, and then you believe. That is your order of life. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Now think about your own life. How many times have you doubted yourself before you can tell me, I don't think I can do it.
I do need that though.
I might fail. But how do you know if you haven't acted yet? Because doubt grows in silence. But action destroys doubt. The moment you start, even imperfectly, something changes inside you. You stop imagining failure and start experiencing progress. Even small progress matters. One completed task. One disciplined morning. One focused outing. It may not look big, but it builds something powerful. Evidence. Evidence that you can act. Evidence that you can improve. Evidence that you can trust yourself. And that evidence becomes belief. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. You don't cross that bridge by thinking. You cross it by walking, step by step, action by action. Now let's be honest. Most people want belief first, then action. But life does not work that way. You must act first, then belief follows. That is the order. That is the truth. Look at anyone successful. They did not start confident. They became confident through action, through repetition, through results. And so can you. But only if you stop waiting, stop overthinking, stop hesitating, and start doing. Because every time you act, you send a message to your mind, I can do this. And every time you repeat it, that message becomes stronger until one day you no longer doubt yourself. You simply act. That is the power of discipline. Now understand this deeply. Your life is currently a reflection of past actions, not future dreams, not intentions, past actions. So if you want a different life, you must take different action. What you do every day determines who you become. There is no shortcut, no trick, no secret, just action. Consistent action, focused action, disciplined action. And over time, those actions produce results. And results produce belief. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel confident. Stop waiting for permission. Start proving it through action, through effort, through discipline. Because in the end, the world does not reward intention. It rewards execution. And when you execute, you don't need to convince yourself anymore. Your results will do it for you. The ultimate reward of discipline is self-respect. Let's bring it all together now. Because this is the real goal. Not just success, not just results, not just achievement, but becoming someone you are proud of. Think about that. Really think about it. At the end of the day, when everything becomes quiet, when no one is watching, when you are alone with your thoughts, what do you feel about yourself? That feeling, that quiet voice inside you, that is your real life. Not what people see, but what you know. And that is why this journey matters. Because every small decision is shaping the person you are becoming. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, every time you choose effort over excuses, every time you choose action over delay, you are building identity. Success is not something you pursue. It is something you attract by becoming the right person. Now listen carefully. Most people focus on results, but results are temporary. What matters more is character. Are you disciplined when no one is watching? Are you honest with yourself? Do you keep going when it gets hard? Because that is who you really are. Not the image, not the words, but the action. And slowly, those actions shape your identity. A strong identity does not need validation. It does not depend on approval. It stands on its own. It says, I know who I am. I know what I stand for. I know what I am building. That is powerful. Now, let's be honest. Becoming someone you're proud of is not easy. It requires discipline. It requires sacrifice. It requires letting go of comfort. But what you gain is worth it. Self-respect, confidence, peace of mind, the feeling that you are moving in the right direction. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. And every day, you make that choice. Do I stay comfortable or do I grow? Do I quit or do I continue? Do I delay or do I act? Those choices shape everything. And over time, you become the result of those choices. Now imagine something powerful. Imagine looking in the mirror and respecting the person you see. Not because you are perfect, but because you are trying, because you are disciplined, because you are consistent. That is real success. Not applause from others, but approval from yourself. So let me leave you with this. Do not chase a life that looks good to others, but feels empty to you. Build a life you can stand behind, a life you can respect, a life you can be proud of. Because in the end, the most important person you must impress is yourself. And when you become that person, something powerful happens. You stop doubting, you stop pretending, you stop settling, and you start living with purpose. So keep going, keep growing, keep becoming, because the real victory is not in what you achieve, but in who you become. Become someone you're proud of, and everything else will follow. Don't just chase success. Become the person who deserves it. Take everything you've heard and bring it into your life. Not tomorrow, not someday, but today, because in the end, it was never about motivation. It was always about discipline, about keeping your promises, about taking action, about proving it to yourself. So remember this, you don't need more time. You need more consistency. And when you master that, everything changes. Become someone you're proud of, and success will follow you. The greatest battle you will ever fight is the one in your own mind. Now think about that carefully, because most people are not defeated by the world. They are defeated by themselves, by doubt, by fear, by hesitation, by lack of
Is that
belief.
comfortable? Or was it better like that?
That inner doubt
Like, you like, you know,
becomes
man.
a silent prison. They stop trying. They stop dreaming. They stop believing. Not because they cannot succeed, but because they do not believe they can. You will never act beyond what you believe about yourself. Now listen carefully. Everything in your life starts with one question. What do I believe about myself? Because that belief decides your actions. Your actions decide your habits. Your habits decide your future. And that is why belief is everything. Now think about this. Two people can have the same talent, same opportunity, same starting point. But one believes, I can grow. And the other believes, I will fail. And over time, their lives go in completely different directions. Not because of ability, but because of belief. Your belief is the foundation of your life. Now here is the truth. Before anyone else believes in you, you must believe in yourself first. Because if you don't, you will quit too early. You will doubt too often. You will settle too easily. But when you believe in yourself, something changes. You start trying again. You start pushing forward. You start becoming stronger than your excuses. Now listen carefully. Belief is not loud. It is quiet strength. It is the voice inside that says, I will keep going, no matter what. And that is where transformation begins. So, we are going to go deep into belief, into discipline, into becoming the person you are meant to be. Because when you finally learn to believe in yourself, everything in your life begins to change. The greatest project you will ever work on is yourself. Now think about that carefully. Everything in your life begins within. Your actions, your habits, your decisions, your future. And at the center of it all is belief. Because the way you see yourself shapes the way you live your life. If you believe you are weak, you hesitate. If you believe you are incapable, you stop trying. If you constantly doubt yourself, you slowly limit your own future. That is why self-belief matters so much. You cannot consistently perform in a way that is inconsistent with the way you see yourself. Now listen carefully. Confidence does not begin when life becomes easy. Confidence begins when you decide to trust yourself, even during difficult seasons. Most people think confidence appears first, but that is not true. Action comes first. Discipline comes first. Growth comes first. And confidence grows from those experiences. Now think about a child learning to walk. At first, they fall constantly, unsteady, uncertain, weak, but they keep trying, again and again. And eventually, What once felt impossible becomes natural. That is how confidence is built, not by perfection, but by persistence. Confidence is not built by waiting. It is built by doing. Now here's the problem. Many people spend years waiting to feel ready. Ready to start. Ready to speak. Ready to chase their dream. But readiness often comes after action, not before it. If you wait until fear disappears, you may wait forever. Because fear is part of growth. Uncertainty is part of growth. Failure is part of growth. But belief allows you to continue anyway. Now listen carefully. Believing in yourself does not mean you think you are perfect. It means you believe you are capable of improvement, capable of learning, capable of growing, capable of becoming stronger. And that mindset changes everything. Success is not about where you start. It is about what you become. Now think about a seed planted in the ground. When you first look at it, it seems small, weak, insignificant. But inside that tiny seed, there is hidden potential. A tree exists inside the seed, even before anyone can see it. And your life is the same. There is potential inside you right now, even if your current situation does not reflect it yet. But potential alone is not enough. You must believe in it, protect it, develop it, because doubt destroys many dreams before they ever begin. Now here is something important. The words you speak to yourself matter deeply. If you constantly say, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed, your mind begins to accept those thoughts as truth. But if you begin saying, I can grow, I can improve, I can become stronger, your mindset begins to shift. Your mind listens to the words you repeat daily. Now understand this deeply. Confidence is not loud. Real confidence is quiet. It is the calm belief that says, I may struggle, but I will continue. That is strength. Not pretending to have no fear, but moving forward despite fear. Now let's make this practical. If you want to build self-belief, start keeping small promises to yourself. Wake up on time. Finish what you start. Stay disciplined when you don't feel motivated. Because every promise you keep builds self-trust. And self-trust builds confidence. Slowly, quietly, powerfully. The promises you keep to yourself shape your future. Now here's the final truth. Nobody can believe in you more than you believe in yourself. People may support you, encourage you, inspire you, but eventually, you must decide, will I believe in my own potential? Because your future depends on that answer. So stop underestimating yourself. Stop focusing only on your weaknesses. Stop doubting your ability to grow. Instead, work on yourself daily. Learn daily. Improve daily. And remember this, confidence begins within. And the moment you truly believe in yourself, your life begins to change. Sometimes the hardest part of the journey is continuing without encouragement. Now think about that carefully. Most people feel motivated when others support them, when people praise them, when people believe in them, when people notice their effort. But what happens when nobody does? What happens when people doubt you, ignore your dream, question your ability? That is where real strength is revealed. Because anyone can move forward with applause, but very few can continue in silence. The ability to keep going without validation is rare. Now listen carefully. There will be seasons in your life when nobody understands your vision. People may laugh at your goals. They may underestimate your potential. They may focus on your past mistakes instead of your future possibilities. And if you are not careful, their doubt becomes your doubt. That is dangerous, because once you stop believing in yourself, you stop taking action. Now here is something important. Not everyone will see your potential immediately. A seed underground looks invisible for a long time. People walking above the soil see nothing. No progress, no growth, no evidence. But beneath the surface, roots are forming, strength is developing, life is growing quietly. And your journey may look the same. Just because others cannot see your growth does not mean growth is not happening. Some of the greatest growth happens in unseen seasons. Now think about this deeply. Many successful people were doubted before they were respected, ignored before they were admired, rejected before they were celebrated. Why? Because results take time. And most people only believe after they see evidence. But you must believe before the evidence appears. That is faith. Now listen carefully. You cannot build the future based on other people's opinions. Because opinions change. People change. Support changes. But your purpose must remain steady. That is why internal belief matters more than external fear. Do not let small-minded people shrink your vision. Now let's go deeper. Keeping going when nobody believes requires emotional discipline. Because discouragement will come. Doubt will come. Loneliness will come. You will question yourself. You will wonder if the struggle is worth it. And in those moments, you must remember why you started. Not the applause. Not recognition, but your purpose. Your dream. Your vision. Because purpose gives strength during difficult seasons. Now think about a mountain climber. As he climbs higher, the path becomes harder. The air becomes thinner. The journey becomes longer. But he continues because he sees something others cannot yet see. The top. And your life works the same way. Vision allows you to continue even when others don't understand your path. Strong people keep moving forward even when the crowd disappears. Now listen carefully. Do not waste energy trying to convince everyone. Not everyone is meant to understand your journey. Not everyone is meant to see your vision. And that is okay. Your responsibility is not to gain approval. Your responsibility is to stay committed. Committed to growth. Committed to discipline. Committed to becoming who you were meant to become. Now here's the final truth. Sometimes life will isolate you before it elevates you. The lonely seasons are often preparation seasons. Preparation for growth. Preparation for strength. Preparation for the future you are building. So do not quit during the quiet season. Do not stop because support is missing. Do not abandon your dream because belief from others is absent. Instead, keep working. Keep growing. Keep believing. Quietly. Consistently. Faithfully. Because one day, the same people who doubted you will look at your life and wonder how you did it. And you will know the answer. You kept going when nobody believed. Your future is not determined by who believes in you today, but by whether you continue tomorrow. Confidence is not built in a day. It is built daily. Now think about that carefully. Most people want to believe in themselves more. They want confidence. They want courage. They want inner strength. But they search for it in feelings. And real self-belief is not created by feelings alone. It is created by habits. The small things you do every day quietly shape the way you see yourself. Now listen carefully. Every action sends a message to your mind. When you keep your word to yourself, your confidence grows. When you break your promises repeatedly, your self-trust weakens. That is why habits matter so much. The habits you practice daily become the identity you believe about yourself. Now think about this deeply. If you constantly procrastinate, your mind begins to believe, I can't trust myself. If you quit every time things become difficult, your mind learns weakness. But when you stay disciplined, even in small ways, something powerful begins to happen. You begin proving to yourself that you are capable. Capable of consistency. Capable of growth. Capable of change. And that slowly builds self-belief. Now think about a bricklayer building a house. He does not build the entire house in one day. He lays one brick at a time. Carefully. Consistently. And over time, a strong structure appears. Confidence is built the same way. One disciplined habit at a time. One completed task at a time. One kept promise at a time. Small daily disciplines create strong inner belief. Now listen carefully. Many people destroy their confidence without realizing it. They constantly delay important things. They avoid responsibility. They ignore their goals. And slowly, their mind begins to associate them with inconsistency. That creates doubt. Because deep inside, you know when you are avoiding your potential. But the opposite is also true. Every time you do what you said you would do, you strengthen your character. Wake up early, confidence grows. Exercise consistently, confidence grows. Stay focused instead of distracted, confidence grows. Not instantly, but gradually. Because self-belief is earned through repeated action. You begin to trust yourself when your actions match your words. Now let's go deeper. Daily habits also shape your mindset. What you read daily, what you watch daily, what you think about daily, all of it affects your belief system. If you feed your mind negativity constantly, your confidence weakens. If you feed your mind growth, discipline, and purpose, your confidence strengthens. Because your mind reflects what you repeatedly consume. Now think about physical exercise. At first, lifting small weights feels difficult. Weakness is exposed. Discomfort appears. But through repetition, strength develops. Mental strength works the same way. The more disciplined your habits become, the stronger your belief becomes. Not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. Discipline creates evidence that you are capable. Now listen carefully. You do not need huge victories to believe in yourself. You need small, consistent wins. Simple habits. Repeated daily. Reading instead of wasting time. Working instead of making excuses. Staying committed instead of quitting. These small actions seem ordinary, but over time, they completely change the way you see yourself. Now here's the final truth. Your habits are shaping your identity every single day, whether you realize it or not. So if you want stronger self-belief, build stronger daily habits. Because confidence is not magic. It is earned. Earned through consistency. Earned through discipline. Earned through the quiet decisions you make every day. So start small. Stay consistent. Keep your promises to yourself. And remember this. The life you repeat daily becomes the person you eventually believe you are. You cannot rise higher than your own belief system. Now think about that carefully. Because this is where life becomes very clear. Very simple. But also very serious. Your future is not only shaped by your circumstances. Not only by your talent. Not only by your opportunities. It is shaped by what you believe about yourself. Now listen carefully. If you believe you are capable, you act differently. You take more chances. You stay longer in the game. You push through difficulty. But if you believe you are limited, you shrink your actions. You avoid challenges. You quit early. You settle for less. And slowly, your belief becomes your reality. What you consistently believe about yourself becomes what you consistently create in your life. Now think about this deeply. Two people can start at the same place. Same background, same opportunities, same conditions. But over time, their lives can become completely different. Why? Not always because of skill, not always because of luck, but because of belief. One believes, I can grow, I can improve, I can succeed. The other believes, this is all I can be. And that difference changes everything. Now listen carefully. Your mind is always working, always shaping your direction, always building expectations for your life. If you expect failure, you prepare for failure. If you expect growth, you prepare for growth. That is how powerful belief is. Your expectations quietly design your future. Now here is something important. Many people are not stuck because life is holding them back. They are stuck because their belief is holding them back. They do not attempt more because they do not believe more is possible. But life responds to belief in motion, not belief in thought alone. Now think about a farmer. If he believes the soil is good, he plants with confidence. He invests effort. He cares for the field. He waits with patience. But if he believes nothing will grow, he stops trying, and nothing grows. The soil did not change. The belief did. And your life works the same way. Your belief determines your effort, and your effort determines your results. Now listen carefully. Your future is not something that happens to you. It is something you participate in creating. And belief is the starting point of that creation. Because before action, there is thought. Before effort, there is belief. Before results, there is mindset. Now think about a builder again. Before building a house, he must first believe it is possible. He must see it in his mind. He must imagine it completed. Only then does construction begin. And your life is no different. If you cannot see your future differently, you will not build it differently. Now let's go deeper. Your belief system is formed over time, from experiences, from influences, from conversations, from repeated thoughts, and sometimes you may be carrying beliefs that do not serve you. I am not good enough. I am not capable. I always fail. But listen carefully. These are not facts. They are learned thoughts. And learned thoughts can be changed. You are not your past beliefs. You are your future decisions. Now here is the truth. Changing your life begins with changing your belief about your life. Not wishing, not hoping, not waiting, but deciding to believe something better about yourself. I can improve. I can grow. I can become more. And then backing that belief with action. Because belief without action is empty. But belief with action becomes powerful. Now listen carefully. If you want a better future, you must first become someone who believes a better future is possible. Because you will never consistently work toward a future you do not believe in. Now let me leave you with this. Your future is not random. It is not accidental. It is not out of your control. It is shaped by what you believe about yourself today. So choose your beliefs carefully. Guard them. Strengthen them. Build them. Because when you believe in your potential, you begin building a future that matches that belief. Now bring everything together. Believe in yourself, not as a thought, but as a way of life. Because everything we talked about begins and ends here. Your habits, your discipline, your consistency, your future. All of it is influenced by one simple truth. What you believe about yourself. When you change your belief, you change your life. Now think about your journey. There will be moments when things feel slow, when progress feels invisible, when doubt gets louder than confidence. But listen carefully. That is not the time to stop. That is the time to believe deeper. Because belief is not proven in easy moments. It is proven in difficult ones. When nobody is clapping, when nobody is watching, when nobody is encouraging you, that is where real belief is tested. And that is where real belief is built. Strong belief is formed in silent battles. Now understand this deeply. You do not need a perfect start. You do not need perfect circumstances. You do not need perfect support. You need belief and action. Because belief without action is only hope. But belief with action becomes transformation. Now listen carefully. You are not where you are because of lack of ability. You are where you are because of what you believed was possible. And that means you can change. You can grow. You can improve. You can rise. If you begin to believe differently, your life expands in the direction of your belief. Now here is the truth. No one can believe in you more than you choose to believe in yourself. People may doubt you. People may misunderstand you. People may underestimate you. But none of that defines you. What defines you is what you decide internally. I will keep going. I will keep growing. I will not give up. That is belief. Now think about a seed again. Inside it is everything needed to become a tree. But it must trust the process. It must endure the darkness. It must grow before it is seen. And your life is the same. You are growing even when it does not look like it. You are becoming even when it feels slow. You are building even when nobody notices. Growth is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. Now listen carefully. Do not wait for confidence to arrive. Build it. Do not wait for motivation to stay. Create discipline. Do not wait for belief from others. Develop it within yourself. Because your life responds to what you consistently do and what you consistently believe. Now let's close this properly. Believe in your ability to grow. Believe in your ability to learn. Believe in your ability to change. Even if you are not there yet. Even if you are struggling. Even if you feel uncertain. Keep moving. Keep improving. Keep believing. Because one day, your results will speak louder than your doubts ever did. And when that day comes, you will realize something powerful. It was never about luck. It was never about timing. It was about belief. So remember this always. Believe in yourself, and your life will begin to believe in you. What if your life could begin to change? Not in 5 years, not in 5 months, but in just 1 week? Not because of some miracle, not because you suddenly became lucky, but because you changed a few simple habits. You see, life doesn't usually change all at once. It changes quietly, in the mornings, in the routines, in the little decisions nobody notices. That's where your future is being built. And most people miss it. They wait for motivation. They wait for inspiration. They wait for the perfect time. But let me tell you something I learned many years ago. Your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. Small changes. Simple disciplines. Repeated daily. That's the secret. Now, I used to think success came from big opportunities, big breaks, big connections. But I discovered something far more powerful. Your habits shape your destiny. The way you wake up, the way you think, the way you use your time, the way you speak to yourself, all of it matters. Because every habit is casting a vote for the person you are becoming. Now listen carefully. A bad habit repeated long enough becomes a prison. But a good habit repeated long enough becomes freedom. And here's the exciting part. You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to start with a few things done consistently. That's how transformation begins. One habit, one action, one disciplined day at a time. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. That sentence changed my life because it made success feel possible. Not easy, but possible. You don't have to be extraordinary to start. You just have to start. So, I'm going to share with you 5 habits that began to transform my mindset, my confidence, my productivity, and my future in just 1 week. Simple habits, but powerful ones. Habits that help me think clearly, work harder, focus better, and believe bigger. Now, don't underestimate simple things. A plane moves just a few degrees, and it ends up in a completely different destination. That's what habits do. Tiny shifts, massive results over time. So if you've been feeling stuck, distracted, unmotivated, this message is for you. Because maybe your life doesn't need a complete overhaul. Maybe it just needs better habits. Let's begin with habit number 1. And let's see how quickly a life can change when a person finally changes themselves. Let me tell you something simple, but very powerful. How you start your morning often decides how you live your day. Not always, but most of the time. Because the morning is not just time, it's control, it's direction. It's where you either take charge of your life or let life take charge of you. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. And waking up early is one of those disciplines. Not because it is popular, not because it is easy, but because it gives you something most people never have. Time to think, time to prepare, time to grow. You see, most people wake up already behind. Alarm ringing, phone buzzing, mind rushing, stress starting before the feet even touch the floor. And just like that, the day is no longer theirs. They are reacting, not creating. But successful people, they do something different. They wake up before the noise, before the demands, before the world starts pulling on their attention. They create space. They create clarity. They create momentum. And in that quiet space, they take control of their life. Let me ask you something. What could you do with 1 extra hour every morning? Not rushed, not distracted, just calm, focused time. Read something that strengthens your mind. Think about your goals. Plan your day with intention. Work on yourself before the world works on you. That 1 hour can change the direction of your entire life. Now, I want to be very clear. Waking up early is not about suffering. It's about self-respect. Because when you wake up early, you are saying something powerful to yourself. I am serious about my life. I value my future. I will not waste my potential. That's what discipline looks like in action. You see, there are 2 kinds of pain in life. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And waking up early falls into discipline. At first, it is uncomfortable. Yes, but so is staying stuck in the same place for years. One pain builds your future. The other destroys it slowly. Let me share something I learned early in life. I noticed something about successful people. They don't wait for motivation. They act on structure. They don't say, I feel like it. They say, this is who I am. And that identity begins in the morning. Because how you win your morning is how you begin to win your life. Now think about this carefully. When you wake up early, you are not just gaining time. You are gaining control over your thinking. And control over your thinking leads to control over your actions. And control over your actions leads to control over your results. That is how life is built. Step by step, day by day. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. And waking up early is one of the first steps on that bridge. But let me warn you about something. If you only wake up early for a few days and then stop, you don't build discipline. You build inconsistency. And inconsistency is dangerous because it teaches your mind not to trust you. But consistency, even in small things, builds something powerful. Self-trust. And once you trust yourself, everything changes. So start simple, not extreme, not overwhelming, just a decision. I will wake up earlier than yesterday. I will take control of my morning. I will start my day with intention, and then do it again tomorrow, and again the next day. Because success is not built in big moments. It is built in quiet mornings, when nobody is watching, when no one is clapping, when it is just you and your discipline. That is where your future is shaped. So remember this. If you want to change your life, don't start with the whole day. Start with your morning. Because when you own the morning, you begin to own your life. And that is habit number 1. Wake up early and take control. Let me tell you something very important. Something most people never truly understand. Your life is only as good as the information you feed your mind. Not your talent. Not your background. Not even your circumstances. But what you consistently allow into your mind, that shapes everything. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. That's one of the most powerful lessons I ever learned. Because school may teach you how to earn a living, but life rewards those who continue to learn long after school is over. And that learning, that growth, that transformation, it starts with a simple daily habit. Feeding your mind. Now let me ask you something. What are you feeding your mind every single day? Are you feeding it ideas or distractions? Are you feeding it wisdom or noise? Because make no mistake, your mind is always eating something. Even when you are not learning, you are still consuming. Social media, negative conversations, endless entertainment, constant distraction, and slowly, without you noticing, it shapes your thinking, and your thinking shapes your life. You see, a weak mind is not created in one day. It is created by repeated neglect, day after day. No learning, no growth, no reflection, just consumption without purpose. And over time, clarity disappears, focus disappears, ambition fades. But here's the good news. The same way a mind can become weak, it can also become strong. And it becomes strong the same way a body becomes strong. Daily training, daily discipline, daily feeding. Let me say it slowly. If you want a better life, you must first develop a better mind. And if you want a better mind, you must feed it better thoughts. That is why reading matters. That is why learning matters. That is why reflection matters. Not because it is trendy, but because it is transformational. Start small. Read 10 pages a day. Listen to something that teaches you. Spend time with ideas that challenge you. Not everything you hear will entertain you, but it will build you. And that is the difference. Entertainment fades, but education transforms. Let me give you a simple truth. You become what you think about most of the time. So if your mind is filled with fear, you become fearful. If your mind is filled with negativity, you become negative. But if your mind is filled with growth, you become someone who grows. It is that simple and that powerful. Now listen carefully. You don't need hours every day. You don't need complex systems. You just need consistency. A little learning every single day. Because small inputs, repeated daily, create massive change over time. Think of your mind like a garden. If you don't plant anything, weeds will grow on their own. But if you intentionally plant good seeds, ideas, knowledge, wisdom, then your life begins to produce something different, something better, something meaningful. But here's the challenge. Most people are too busy consuming noise to grow their mind. They scroll endlessly, but they don't study. They watch everything, but they learn nothing. And then they wonder why their life doesn't change. But life always responds the same way. Garbage in, garbage out. Growth in, growth out. So make a decision today. Feed your mind like your future depends on it, because it does. Choose what you read. Choose what you listen to. Choose what you allow in. Because every idea you accept is shaping the person you are becoming. And remember this, you cannot think a better life with a weak mind. You must build it, strengthen it, feed it, day by day, page by page, idea by idea. So habit number 2 is simple. Feed your mind every day. Because what you feed it will eventually feed your life. Let me tell you something very direct, very simple, but very powerful. Your life is made of time. And once time is gone, you never get it back. Not partially, not in pieces, not even for a moment. It is gone forever. Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you cannot get more time. Now think about that. If you lose money, you can earn it again. If you lose an opportunity, another may come. But if you lose time, you lose life itself. And yet, most people waste it. Not all at once. Not in big dramatic moments, but slowly, quietly, daily. On things that don't matter. On conversations that lead nowhere. On distractions that give pleasure, but no progress. Scrolling, complaining, comparing, procrastinating, little things that slowly steal big futures. Let me ask you something. How much of your day is truly intentional? And how much of it is just reaction? Because there are 2 kinds of lives. One is designed, the other is distracted. And the distracted life always feels busy. but rarely feels fulfilled. Don't spend major time on minor things. That's one of the greatest lessons I ever learned, because most people are exhausted, not from meaningful work, but from meaningless activity. They end the day tired, but not proud, busy, but not better. Now listen carefully. Your time is your life in motion. Every hour you waste is a piece of your future you are giving away. And the hardest part is, you don't notice it happening. It feels harmless. It feels small. It feels just for a few minutes. But those minutes add up. And suddenly, weeks are gone. Months are gone. Years are gone. And you look back and say, where did the time go? Let me be very clear. Success is not just about doing more. It is about doing what matters. Not everything deserves your attention. Not everything deserves your energy. Not everything deserves your life. You must learn the art of elimination. Ask yourself every day, is this building my future? Or is this stealing from it? Is this making me stronger? Or just keeping me entertained? Is this aligned with my goals? Or just filling my time? Because clarity changes everything. When you value your time, you become selective. You stop saying yes to everything. You stop entertaining every distraction. You stop living by impulse. And you start living by purpose. Now let me say something important. Great people are not great because they do everything. They are great because they ignore what doesn't matter. They protect their time like it is sacred. Because it is. Every successful person you admire has simply mastered one skill. Focus. What you give attention to grows. So if you give attention to distractions, your distractions grow. But if you give attention to growth, your life grows. It is that simple. Now I want you to imagine something. If you took just 2 hours a day and removed all meaningless activity, what could you become in 1 year? What skill could you build? What business could you start? What discipline could you master? Most people don't lack time. They lack focus. So here is the habit. Start saying no more often. No to distractions. No to unnecessary noise. No to things that don't move your life forward. Because every no protects your future. And say yes to what matters. Yes to learning. Yes to discipline. Yes to building something meaningful. Even if it is uncomfortable. Even if it is quiet. Even if nobody notices. Because in the end, you will not regret the time you spent building your life. You will only regret the time you wasted avoiding it. So remember, this habit 3 is clear. Stop wasting time on meaningless things. Because your future is not built in big moments. It is built in what you choose to do every single day. And the question is simple. Are you investing your time or just spending it? Choose wisely. Let me share something with you. Something that separates those who grow from those who stay the same. Most people are not stuck because they lack ability. They are stuck because they are waiting. Waiting for confidence. Waiting for clarity. Waiting for the perfect moment. But let me tell you something very important. The perfect moment never arrives. You don't get paid for what you know. You get paid for what you do with what you know. Now think about that. Knowledge is not the issue. Information is not the issue. The real issue is action. You see, many people believe they need to feel ready first. I'll start when I feel confident. I'll begin when I have more experience. I'll take action when I'm sure. But life does not reward certainty. Life rewards movement. Let me say it slowly. Action creates confidence, not the other way around. You don't think way into a better life. You act your way into it, step by step, mistake by mistake, lesson by lesson. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. That is a powerful truth, because wishing for easier conditions keeps you dependent on circumstances. But deciding to become better puts control back in your hands. Now listen carefully. Every expert you admire today was once a beginner who was ready. They didn't start confident. They became confident through action. They didn't wait for courage. They built courage by doing difficult things. Let me ask you something. How long have you been waiting? Waiting to start. Waiting to speak up. Waiting to take the first step. And what has that waiting given you? More clarity or more confusion? More progress or more regret? Because waiting feels safe, but it slowly becomes a trap that looks like preparation, but feels like frustration. You see, life responds to movement. When you move, things open. When you act, clarity comes. When you try, learning begins. But when you wait, everything stays the same. Let me give you a simple truth. You don't need to be great to start, but you must start to become great. That is the order of life. Not perfection first, not certainty first, not readiness first, action first. Now think about your goals, the business you want to start, the skills you want to learn, the life you want to build. Ask yourself honestly, what have you been postponing? And more importantly, why are you still postponing it? Most of the time, it is not fear of failure. It is fear of starting imperfectly. But let me tell you something. Everything meaningful starts imperfect. Every success story begins with uncertainty. Every strong person was once unsure. The difference is simple. They started anyway. Success is not something you pursue. It is something you attract by the person you become. And the person you become is shaped by your actions. Not your thoughts alone. Not your intentions alone. But your consistent behavior. So here is the habit. Take action even when you don't feel it. Not rip yourself. Not believe in yourself. But purposeful action. It's not a step. Baby step. On step 3. Send the message. Start the boundary. Make the cut. Record the video. Not the first page. Do something. Because doing something is always better than doing nothing. And let me tell you something powerful. The moment you act, you break the chain of hesitation. And once that chain is broken, you begin to see yourself differently. Not as someone who waits, but as someone who moves. That is where confidence is born. Not in thinking, not in planning, but in doing. So remember this habit 4 is clearly. Take action, even when you don't feel ready. Because readiness is not a feeling. It is a result of action. And the life you want is waiting on the other side of your first step. Let me tell you something very few people ever understand. Your day does not end when the work is finished. Your day ends when you understand what the day taught you. Because life is not just about living through experiences. It is about learning from them. The major key to your better future is you. And that better future is not built randomly. It is built through reflection, through awareness, through small, honest adjustments every single day. Now listen carefully. Most people repeat their days. They wake up the same way, think the same way, act the same way, and wonder why nothing changes. But here is the truth. If nothing changes in your thinking, nothing changes in your life. That is why reflection is powerful. Because reflection interrupts repetition. It forces you to pause, to observe, to question. And in that moment, you begin to grow. Let me ask you something. At the end of your day, do you ever stop and think, what did I do well today? What did I waste time on? What can I improve tomorrow? Or do you just move on without learning anything from the day? Because if you do not reflect, you do not improve. You only repeat. Success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. And who you become is shaped in moments of reflection. Quiet moments, honest moments, personal moments. Now let me be very clear. Reflection is not about judgment. It is not about guilt. It is not about punishment. It is about awareness. It is the ability to look at your day and say, this worked. This didn't. This I will improve tomorrow. Simple, honest, powerful. Because when you reflect, you begin to see patterns. You see what is helping you and what is holding you back. You see where your time went and where it should have gone. And once you see clearly, you can change intelligently. Now here's the next step. After reflection comes reset, because it is not enough to know what went wrong. You must reset your mindset for tomorrow. You must let go of the mistakes of today, so they do not become the burden of tomorrow. Every night is a chance to reset, to clear your mind, to release frustration, to let go of failure, and to prepare again. Because every sunrise is a new opportunity, but only for those who are mentally ready to receive it. And then comes the final step. Improve. Not dramatically, not perfectly, but slightly, just a little better than yesterday. A better decision, a better habit, a better response, a better mindset. Because success is not built in giant leaps, but in small improvements repeated daily. Let me give you a powerful truth. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. And reflection helps you see that clearly. It helps you decide what matters. It helps you align your actions. It helps you stay on track. Now think about this. If you improve just 1% every day, over time, you would become unrecognizable. Not because of one big moment, but because of consistent refinement. That is how greatness is built. Quietly, daily, deliberately. So here is the habit. At the end of every day, pause, think, reflect, reset. Ask yourself, did I move closer to my goals today? Did I grow as a person today? What will I improve tomorrow? And answer honestly.